And he said to them also a parable, that it behoveth to pray evermore, and not fail, and said, There was a judge in a city that dreaded not God, neither shamed of men. And a widow was in that city, and she came to him, and said, Avenge me of mine adversary. And he would not long time. But after these things he said within himself, Though I dread not God, and shame not of man, nevertheless, for this widow is heavy to me, I shall avenge her, lest at the last she coming condemn me. And the Lord said, Hear ye what the doomsman of wickedness saith, and whether God shall not do vengeance of his chosen, crying to him day and night, and shall have patience in them. Soothly I say to you, for soon he shall do vengeance of them. Nevertheless, guessest thou that man's son's coming shall find faith in earth? And he said also to some men that trusted in themselves, as they were rightful, and despised others, this parable, saying, 2 men went up into the temple to pray, the one a Pharisee, and the other a publican. And the Pharisee stood and prayed by himself these things, and said, God, I do thankings to thee, for I am not as other men, raveners, unjust, adulterers, as also this publican. I fast twice in the week. I give tithes of all things that I have possession. And the publican stood afar, and would not raise his eyes to heaven, but smote his breast, and said, God, be merciful to me, sinner. Truly I say to you, this went down into his house, and was justified from the other. For each that enhanceth himself shall be made low, and he that meeketh himself shall be enhanced. And they brought to him young children, that he should touch them. And when the disciples saw this thing, they blamed them. But Jesus called together them, and said, Suffer ye children to come to me, and do not ye forbid them, for of such is the kingdom of heavens. Truly I say to you, whoever shall not take the kingdom of God as a child, he shall not enter into it. And a prince asked him, and said, Good master, and what thing doing shall I wield everlasting life? And Jesus said to him, What sayest thou me good? No man is good, but God alone. Thou knowest the commandments. Thou shalt not slay. Thou shalt not do lechery. Thou shalt not do theft. Thou shalt not say false witnessing. Worship thy father and thy mother, which said, I have kept all these things from my youth. And when this thing was heard, Jesus said to him, Yet one faileth to thee. Sell thou all these things that thou hast, and give to poor men, and thou shalt have treasure in heaven. And come, and pursue thou me. And when these things were heard, he was sorrowful, for he was full rich. And Jesus, seeing him made sorry, said, How hard they that have money shall enter into the kingdom of God. For it is lighter a camel to pass through a needle's eye, than a rich man to enter into the kingdom of God. And they that heard these things said, Who may be made safe? And he said to them, Those things that be impossible with men, be possible with God. But Peter said, Lo, we have left all things, and have pursued thee. And he said to him, Truly I say to you, there is no man that shall forsake house, or father and mother, or brethren, or wife, or children, or fields for the realm of God, and shall not receive many more things in this time, and in the world to coming everlasting life. And Jesus took his 12 disciples, and said to them, Lo, we go up to Jerusalem, and all things shall be ended, that be written by the prophet of the man's Son. For he shall be betrayed to heathen men, and shall be scorned, and scourged, and bespat. And after that they have scourged him, they shall slay him, and the 3rd day he shall rise again. And they understood nothing of these, and this word was hid from them, and they understood not those things that were said. But it was done, when Jesus came nigh to Jericho, a blind man sat beside the way, and begged. And when he heard the people passing, he asked what this was. And they said to him, that Jesus of Nazareth passed. And he cried and said, Jesus, the Son of David, have mercy on me. And they that went before blamed him, that he should be still. But he cried much the more, Thou Son of David, have mercy on me. And Jesus stood and commanded him to be brought forth to him. When he came nigh, he asked him and said, What wilt thou that I should do to thee? And he said, Lord, that I see. And Jesus said to him, Behold, thy faith hath made thee safe. And anon he saw and pursued him, and magnified God. And all the people, as it saw, gave praising to God.